My dear students, today I am going to discuss regarding the chapter mutations. In your syllabus, the mutation it consists of four topics. First is mutation, which is the molecular basis of the mutation, first one. Then structural changes of the chromosomes, then numerical changes in the chromosomes, then cytogenetic effect in the chromosomes, effect and anaging and non-anaging additions. So it is a vast chapter aquí. So it is not the one day class. So you don't think it's a one day class. It will take more than 7 days aquí. If I take your classes for continuous 7 days or continuous 4 days or 5 days, then I can complete these chapters. Okay, don't think this is a one day preparations, whatever it may be. And some of your students, especially Shundipan, he is always complaining regarding the syllabus and all these things. So I know my syllabus, and your exam will be held during the month of the July. Okay, so before the July I can complete my syllabus. You don't worry for that one, Aki. And my responsibility need not to point out me, Aki. Okay, you try to follow whatever I give in online classes. Okay, that much only, Aki. Whatever may be, this is not recorded, so you can do one thing. Now I'm going to start. So before starting, already you know that what is the mutations. So what is the mutations? So first, we'll discuss what is the mutations. So mutation is an alteration in the nucleotide sequence of the genome of an organism, virus, or extrachromosomal DNA. In broad sense, mutation includes all those heritable changes which alter the phenotype of an individual. Mutations are abrupt qualitative and quantitative changes in the genetic makeup of an organism. Simply, mutation means sudden permanent changes in the genome, which may take place by naturally or induced. According to Darwinian language, mutation are the sudden, drastic, inevitable changes in the genotype of an organism, arising at any stage of the life cycle of a pure breeding variety. A mutagenic agent that can bring about the permanent alteration to the physical composition of a DNA by chemicals or radiations. Now, regarding my history of the mutations, I will give you another slides. In my slide, the history of the mutations. Now, the term mutations was first introduced and coined by Hugo de Vries in his mutation theory 1901 to 1903. The agents which causes mutations are known as mutagenic agents or mutagens. The scientific study of the mutation was started in 1910 by T.H. Morgan, when he started his work on fruit fly Drosophila melanogaster and reported white-eyed male individual among the red-eyed male individuals. After the discovery of the white-eyed mutant, Morgan and co-workers observed different mutation in Drosophila. Now, before going to molecular basis of the mutations, so you must know that our DNA is the what genetical material or hereditary materials, and our central dogma of the molecular biology, which states that DNA, from the DNA, another molecule of DNA can be synthesized by means of the replications. Then DNA, it will give rise to the mRNA by means of the transcriptions, and mRNA, it will give rise to protein by means of the translations. So DNA, it is located inside the nucleus. From the nucleus, mRNA formation takes place, and mRNA, there is a immature mRNA and mature mRNA. Immature mRNA, after formation, it comes in the cytoplasms. In the meantime, it gets matured form. 5' is kept and 3' is polyadenylated. Okay, and that mRNA ultimately it forms a complex with the ribosomes. Okay, and by means of the translation, protein are synthesized. So that protein ultimately will perform the different functions. So this is known the central dogma of the molecular biology. Okay, now this central dogma of the molecular biology, it has got another view which is known the modern view, which is exception to the original central dogma. We originally know that DNA gives rise to the mRNA and mRNA gives rise to the proteins. But it is not always true. Sometimes DNA will give rise to the mRNA and mRNA in turn it will give rise to the DNA, which is known the reverse transcriptions. And generally this reverse transcription it takes place in case of the some viruses, RNA viruses. So from the RNA also it may give rise to DNA. So which is on the reverse transcription. So this is something a deviation from the central dogma of the molecular biology, and that is it is popular in the modern view of the there is a central dogma. So in my next slides, I will give the classic view of the central dogma of the molecular biology. So here in this classic view, you will get that DNA, and then DNA, we know DNA is made up of nitrogenous bases, and the genotype is always found in the DNA. Okay, so whatever genotype is there, according to that genotype, DNA it will first transcribe and then translate, and ultimately protein is synthesized, that protein will express, and that is on the phenotypes. So in my this slide, just I would like to say that there is a correlation between the genotype and the phenotypes. Okay, if there is change in the genotype, naturally there will be change in the phenotype. Okay, genotype we cannot see, we cannot touch it, but phenotype we can observe it, we can touch it. So changes in the genotype is expression in the phenotypes. Okay, so in my next slides, I will give another idea regarding that is central dogma of the biology. There is a classic view. Now we know DNA generally it is found in the chromosomes. Okay. Now in that chromosomes, if there is a defects by means of the mutation, maybe chromosomal or gene mutations. Okay, the defects ultimately it will express in the where in our phenotypes. Okay, just I have in this diagram, just I am showing that defects in the genome, it will result in the phenotypes, and here one defect just I have shown here, polydactyly, means more than 5 fingers. So polydactyly is a phenomena which is due to the some defects. Here defects means some disorders in our DNA of the chromosomes. Okay. So in my next slide, I would like to say regarding that if we look into the central dogma of the molecular biology precisely and accurately, it is clear that DNA is the master molecule which can duplicate or replicate and has got all information that it possesses. And that is coded to the mRNA, and mRNA finally decoded the information to form what is called the proteins, which have diverse function. As a result, we have the phenotypic expressions. So, the process by which the information from the DNA is carried to the mRNA is called the transcriptions, and messages in the mRNA are decoded into the protein under the translations, which essentially reads the codons that are given in the mRNA and decoded them into the protein, and protein of course functions. Now, what are the steps of the central dogma of molecular biology? So in my next classes, I am given what are the different steps. So DNA replicates or duplicates into DNA. Only DNA, never protein or RNA or lipid, they can duplicate, never duplicate. Only DNA has the property of replication or the duplications. Okay. Second step, DNA by transcription gives rise to the mRNA, already I have discussed. mRNA by translation gives rise to the sequence of the amino acids, the proteins or the polypeptides. Protein modify into hormones, enzymes, structural protein, etc. to perform the different functions. In this flow of informations, if any change takes place at replications, transcription or translation at any stage, maybe in replication or in transcriptions, okay, it will lead to the alternation of the gene, that is DNA, RNA, and ultimately proteins. The altered genome cannot command the required genetic code, in turn required amino acids, and leads to the defects in the proteins. The genetic codes are made up of triplet codons, AUGC, adenine, uracil, guanine, and cytosine, with 3 nitrogenous bases makes a 1 codon. Out of that 4, any 3 makes a 1 codon, and thereby 4 to the power 3, there will be total 64 codons, out of which 61 codons are functional and rest 3 codons are non-functional or the stop codons, namely UAA, UAG, and UGA. And one starting codon is AUG. This is universally present in AUG in case of the prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes. Each codon represents the specific amino acids. So any mutations which results in the non-functional codons are nonsense mutations. We are moving into new concept, that is mutations. So what are mutations? Mutation is a permanent alternation in the base of the DNA. When I say permanent, that every copy, every daughter cell that is being produced would have the same change in it, in the DNA. So therefore it is a permanent and it can run through the families. Therefore these are permanent alternations. How do mutation come in? Often they are caused as something like typo during the copyings. When you copy something or typing something, there may be some error. So mutation also naturally it may bring some error. It may take place by some naturally error. When DNA is copied in our cell, sometimes there is an error. The way it's being copied, and it is very, very common, and such errors are normally fixed in our systems. Now, these mutations, the mutations are basically basically 2 types. So one is known as the gene mutation, the point mutation, and there is the chromosomal mutation or the chromosomal aberrations. Okay. Now, let us first discuss the gene mutations. Gene mutations, genes or nucleotides are hereditary material which are located in the DNA. Any change in the nitrogenous bases leads into the changes in the mRNA, which in turn affects into the polypeptide or the protein formation. We know physically protein perform different functions. So genotype and phenotype are correlated, and changes in the genotype affect, and we can observe it in the phenotype. So this is a pretty schematic view, which is the classic view of the central dogma of the molecular biology. In my next slides, I will give the idea of the genetic code. So everybody, you know, already you might have studied regarding the genetic code, and with the help of these 4 bases, there are 64 codons are represented, and that 64 codons, it represents the 20 amino acids. So in my these slides, just I have represented all the codons. Okay, 64 codons. Out of that 64 codon, AUG, which is the methionine, is the starting codons. UAA, UAG is the stop codons. UG also stop codons. Okay. Now you see, first to represent the phenylalanine, then leucine, then again leucines, then isoleucine, methionines. That's the starting codon, again valine. So in this way, more than one codon represents the one amino acids. Our amino acids are only 20 types, and codons are 64 codons are there. 64 codons, it represents the 20 amino acid. It means that one amino acid, it can be represented by more than one codons. Okay, so I have given this idea because when we will going to discuss gene mutation means this codon changes in the codons in molecular level, changes in the codons. Okay, so that is I have given the idea of the what is genetic codes. See my next slides. So this is also simply genetic codon. Mutation takes place in the genetic codon. Just simply one diagrammatic idea that mutation when causes this coding or changes. Okay, when this coding or changes, then ultimately it will results. That is mutations. This gene mutation. Now another just in this slide, just I would like to give you another idea. That you see our genetic code mainly we know the DNA is the master molecule, DNA gives rise to the mRNA, and mRNA ultimately gives rise to the protein. So mRNA, when it is formed, mature mRNA, this 5 days is always 5 days is kept and 3 days is polyadenylated. Everybody you know. Now you see this functional part of the genetic code. It represents some codons, and codons are consist of triplets. 3 bases makes one codons. Let us say one example, the English sentence. So in my slide I have given, the cat eat the rat. You are not too old. So every word, it has got 3 letters. The cat eat the rat. You are not too old. Okay. Now if any change takes place in this whole sentence, okay, say T is deleted or another T is inserted, then whole this sentence will change. It will not run properly. Okay. Similarly, in our that is genetic code also, what nitrogenous bases are there, it is arranged in a very precisely, very accurately. Okay. Now thing is that now ATG, the first codon, the ATG, it represents the methionine. SAG, it represents the serine, that is amino acids. GAG, it represents the glutamines. CTT, leucines. CGG, arginine. AGC, serine, and TAG is for stop codons. Now we say genetic code already I have given earlier, and here I have showing you how this genetic code, it represents the particular amino acid, and that amino acid ultimately it will combine together, ultimately it will give us the polypeptides of the proteins. Okay. Now in my next slides, you see the genetic code already I have shown you. No, this already next slide. Just I am going to show you regarding that changes in the mutation. What is the molecular changes? What is the basic changes which takes place in the mutations? Okay, and how these different kinds of mutations occur or gene mutation occurs. Okay. Now let us consider this slide. It's very nicely it is shown. So these bases, nitrogenous bases, so this is the DNA. So this is no mutation, this is the original DNA. So having the DNA, and that is TTC. The codon is the TTC. So this DNA will give rise to the mRNA. Automatically T will represent by TAAG. Okay, in mRNA the codon will be the AAG, and this AAG represents the lysine, and this is the structure of the lysines. Okay. Now, due to gene mutation or point mutation, so this TTC C is changed. C is replaced by T. Okay, the codon will be TTT, and this TTT ultimately it will represent the mRNA A, and A also represents the lysine, AG represents the lysine, A also represents the lysines. Okay. So this type of the changes is known as silent mutations. Okay. This is the one kind of point mutation, but this is the silent. This is not result, because after changing of the codon also, what will happen? It is the same, that is amino acid lysines. Okay. Another is known as nonsense mutation. Now we see our original code in the DNA is the TTC. Now say T is replaced by A, then the codon will be the ATC. Okay, red one, ATC. A is the say base change. Now if the base is changed, automatically it will change into our mRNA also. So ATC will change into the UAG. And we know that UAG represents the stop codons. That means it will not represent in the amino acids. So this type of the mutation is known as the nonsense mutations. Okay. Next, I would like to give another example which is known as missense mutations. So you see, our original code is the TTC in the DNA. Now let us consider this TTC, it is changed to TCC. Middle one is changed, red one, C. Okay, it is the DNA. So if the DNA changes, normally the what? Amino also change, amino will be the AGG, and this AGG represents the arginines. Okay, okay. So again, you see, so this is known as the missense mutations, and this is the conservative, and that is known as non-conservative. What is the difference? Now you see TTC here, TGC. So T is replaced by the G, TGC. Now TGC, it is in the DNA level, so the changes will occur in the mRNA is ACG, and ACG represents the threonine, THRs, okay, amino acids. So this type of the mutation is known as the missense mutations. Okay. So in my next slides, just I would like to now sum up in text level. Earlier I have given the schematic level, now text levels. Gene mutation, the point mutation. The mutation which affects one or two bases are known as gene or the point mutation. The point mutation are of the following types. First is a nonsense mutations. Already explains in the schematic figures. Okay. Now a nonsense mutation is a point mutation in a sequence of the DNA that results in the premature stop codons. Okay, it will result in the stop codon. Or a nonsense codons in the transcribed mRNA, and possibly a truncated and often non-functional protein product. Okay, this is another nonsense mutations. Next is missense mutations. It is also a point mutations where a single nucleotide is changed to cause substitution of a different amino acids. Such mutation is responsible for disease, for example, sickle cell anemia. Again, I am repeating, missense mutation. It is also a point mutation where a single nucleotide is changed to cause a substitution of a different amino acids. Such mutations are responsible for a disease, for example, sickle cell anemia. So, in my next slides, I would like to give regarding another point mutation of frameshift mutations. Okay, frameshift mutation is a mutation caused by insertion or deletion of a number of the nucleotides in a DNA sequence. Due to the triplet nature of the gene expression by codons, the insertion or deletions can disrupt the reading frames or the grouping of the codons, resulting in a completely different translation from the originals, which is popularly known as the frameshift mutation. The whole frame it will be changed. So one example from our English language, madam, I am madam. So it is forward direction and the backward direction. If you go, it is almost this change, not change. Okay, it is same. It is in the same frames. Now, if this frame is changed, then it is known the frameshift mutations. Next is I already have explained that is silent mutations. Silent mutation means same amino acid represented by the different codons. Okay, a silent mutation is a mutation that occurred in amino acid codons, which results in the use of the different but chemically similar amino acids. The similarity between the two is enough that little or no change is often rendered in the proteins. For example, a change from AAA, which represents the lysine, to AGA lysine will encode the arginine, a chemically similar molecule to the intended lysines. So in my next slides, Again, with the help of this different schematic model, I would like to show different kinds of gene mutation or the point mutations. Okay, so this is the original DNA wild type of the, that is DNA wild type sequences. So this is the DNA A, T, A, T, A, T, A, T, A. This is 3 days and this is the 5 days and okay, T, A, T, A, T, A. So C, G, then this is G, C, A, T. Okay, so this is the what DNA molecule. So DNA will give rise to the mRNA, 5 days to 3 deletion from the A, it will give rise to the UUU, from CGA, next is UGG, okay, AUA, CGG, so this is the mRNA. Now this mRNA, it will consist of different amino acids, for example, UU phenylalanine, CGA arginine, UGG tryptophan, AUA isoleucine, GCC alanines, and AAU, that is aspartic acids. Okay, so this is the amino acid sequence. This is a wild type sequence where no mutation has been taken place. Now, if there is a mutation taken place, then what will happen? Say this A is TA is change. Okay, so it become A. If it become A, that is in the DNA, automatically mRNA will be changed. Okay, do you follow my point? So that represent the amino acid leucines. Okay, and then arginine and tryptophan, it will remain same. So now this is earlier it is phenylalanine, now it is a leucine. So this is type of the mutation is known as missense mutations. Okay, now again nonsense. Say this is our original DNA. So T is changed. If T is changed, it will ultimately result in the stop codons. Original, that is tryptophan will become the what, that is stop codon. If it become the stop codon, then it will not represent the amino acid. So this is a nonsense mutation. Already I have explained earlier also. Now with the help of this diagram, it is more lucidly just I am showing frameshift mutations. So this is one earlier our DNA molecules. So here the that is first is phenylalanine, then arginine, then tryptophan, then this that is fourth that is they represent the isolation. Instead of isolation is again is tryptophans. Okay, so our frame will be what changed. Okay, so this is known as that is frameshift mutations. Frameshift is by addition, frameshift mutation, and frameshift by deletions. Say one base, okay, our base is ATTT, okay, then CGA, mRNA is that is T, that is GCT. Instead of GCT, say GCT, there is some bases inserted. So if the basis is inserted, what happens? It is first one is by addition, and here it is by deletion. So one base is here, what it is deleted. So if the deleted, then what will happen? Again our this genetic code, it will change. Ultimately it will depend in the stop codons. Okay, so this is also one kind of mutation, the frame sheet by deletion. This is the frame sheet by addition. Our original frame on the amino acid, it will be changed. Okay, so these are the different kinds of gene mutations. Okay, next, so with the help of this diagram, I have shown you the different kinds of gene mutation. Now I would like to show you regarding chromosomal mutation, or you can say the chromosomal abnormalities. Now chromosomal mutation, chromosomal abnormalities, it is basically, it is what two types. One is a numerical, that is in terms of the numbers, and another in terms of the structures. Numerical, again these two types, autosomal and sex chromosomals, and structural also again 4 types: deletion, translation, then inversion and duplications. So this is a just schematic figure, okay, line diagram, so that very easily you can understand. So in my next slides, I'd like to give regarding that is chromosomal mutations, okay, or the chromosomal aberrations. Text. In comparison to gene mutation, chromosomal mutations are more intense, okay, In comparison to gene mutations, chromosomal mutations are more intense and macromolecular. Moreover, chromosomal mutation affects many genes and can be intra, intra, or interchromosomals. Okay. Now, chromosomal mutations, again, already I have mentioned that is basically two types. One is structural and then numerical. First, let us discuss the structural. Structural abnormality. Structural mutations. Okay. Abnormality means as a result of mutation, it will give rise to abnormality. So, it may take place by the following process. By first one is the deletion or deficiency. It involves loss of the chromosomal materials. It may be either terminal or intercanally. Earlier we have discussed gene mutation where one or two bases it leads to the mutation. Now here what will happen, a part of the chromosome, a segment of the chromosome, okay, when it is deleted or it is added, it may also leads to mutation, which is popularly known as the chromosomal mutation on the chromosomal aberrations. The first one is on the deletion. It involves the loss of the chromosomal materials. It may be either terminal or intercalary. Terminal means at the end of the chromosomes, okay, or it may take place in between the chromosomes. Duplications. When a segment of the chromosome is represented by two or more times, then the phenomena is called the duplications. Again I am repeating. When a segment of the chromosome is represented by two or more times, then this phenomena is called the duplications. That means a part, a codons, is repeated. So that is known as the duplications. Inversions. It involves 180-degree rotation of the chromosomal segments. It may be pericentric if it includes the centromere or paracentric if it does not include the centromere. The phenomena takes place at packaging stage of the forming a loop. In our that is first meiosis 1 packaging stage it takes place. Now inversion means what? A chromosome, a arm of the chromosome with centromere or without centromere, it may rotate in such a way that from the left it will go to the right and right will come to the left. So this is known as this inversions. And inversions two types. One is a pericentric and is known as the paracentric. Pericentric, if it includes the centromere, with the centromere also position is changing, so then it is not with the help of the centromere, then the pericentric, or the paracentric if it does not include the centromeres. Okay. Next is translocations. Another way by means of which chromosomal mutation may take place is known as translocation. Translocation means exchange. The phenomena takes place between the two non-homologous chromosomes. Okay, one may be 4, one may be 20. If this type of the 4 and 20, two different chromosomes, and any part of the chromosome from the 4, it may go to the 20, or from the 20 it come to the 4. So this type of the exchange between the two non-homologous chromosomes is known as translocations. Translocations is also known as the chromosomal aberration, and again translocation it is of two types. One is reciprocal translocation, and another is known as the Robertsonian translocation. Now what is reciprocal translocation? Reciprocal, when the segments are exchanged between the non-homologous chromosome without involving the centromeres. Simply a part from the 1, say 4, it will go to the 20, and from the 20 one part will come to the 4 without involving the centromere. So this is the reciprocal translocation. Another is known the Robertsonian translocations, when exchange takes place by involving the centromere. Again, say in between the 4 and 20 there will be exchange, but it involves the centromere. That is known the Robertsonian translocations. So I have shown you regarding the different kinds of chromosomal aberrations with relation to structures. So now here is a one diagrams. So with the help of this diagram, the structural abnormalities, just I have given there is a schematic diagram. You can understand very easily the structural chromosome abnormalities. Say in this structural chromosome abnormalities, what will happens? One break in one chromosomes, the terminal deletions may take place. Two breaks on one chromosomes, it may be inversions or it may be interstitial deletions. Okay, and it may two breaks, it may give rise to a ring formation of the also. And it is known as two breaks on the different chromosomes. If it two breaks on the different chromosomes, already just mentioned this reciprocal translocations. Okay, reciprocal translocation, or it is known as that is centric translocations. Okay, and sometimes there may be 3 bases, at least two on 1 chromosomes. Okay, 3 bases, it will lead to the interstitial translocation. So different mode of arrangement of the what that is structural chromosomal abnormalities. So here in next diagrams, just I am showing you that's a single chromosome, that is how this deletion, duplication, inversion takes place, again by with the chromosomal structures. Okay, concrete, say this is a part is deleted, say this is the one part, so cross mark is given, so this part of the chromosome is deleted, so this is the deletions. Duplication, say this part yellow colored, this part is again this what repeated, so this is not the duplications. Inversion, say this part is there, so this part is rotated in such a way, the undirected rotation, so this part will go there and this part will come here, so this is known on the inversions. Okay, again say this is chromosome 4 and this is chromosome 20, say part from the chromosome 4 it is deleted and ultimately it is what, it is added to the chromosome number 20. From the chromosome 4 a part is deleted and is added to the chromosome number 20, which is also known on the translocations. Okay, again you say the 2 chromosomes, this is the chromosome number 4, this is chromosome number 20. Now what will happen, this part will go there and this part will come here. Okay, so this is also one translocation just I have mentioned earlier, which is popularly known as translocation. One is Robertsian translocation and that is known as reciprocal translocation, and there is the Robertsian translocations. Okay, so in my next slides, so this is a concrete idea regarding the how the parts are changed. Now in my next slides, I would like to give discuss regarding the what that is numerical abnormalities. Okay, now numerical abnormalities due to the mutations, it is a very broad term. Numerical abnormalities. Numerical abnormalities means in terms of numbers. Basically, numerical abnormality it is of 2 types. One is known the aneuploidy and there is known the euploidy. Aneuploidy, it is due to the loss or gain of the one or more and part of the chromosomes. It may be twice n minus 1, twice n minus 2, or twice n plus 1, twice n plus 2, or minus 5p Philadelphia chromosome. In that way, it may occur both in plants as well as the animals, which is popular in the aneuploidy. Okay, and there is in the euploidy. Okay, when complete set of the chromosome are changed, it is known as euploidy, such as monoploids, diploids, triploids, polyploids, etc. And it is the established facts in case of the plants in the euploidy. Euploidy never it occurs in case of the animal beings. It always occurs in case of the plant beings. Okay. Now, numerical abnormalities in case of the human beings. Okay, numerical changes in the chromosomes of the human beings. In case of the human being, the following disorder may take place due to the mutations. Okay, that is numerical abnormalities, change in the number of the chromosome. Okay, or it is maybe deletion or be addition. So already in my there is a genetical disorder I have already mentioned in details regarding the changes. One is known the autosomal abnormality and there is known the sex chromosomal abnormality. Autosomal abnormality, what it may be trisomy 21. That means 21 number is 3 sets, twice n plus 1. Okay, trisomy maybe 18 number of chromosome extra. Okay, trisomy 13 number of chromosome is extra. So this type of the changes is known as autosomal abnormalities. Okay, chromosomal changes ultimately. That is known as twice n plus 1, twice n plus 1, twice n plus 1. Okay. Now, in the next, another is the sex chromosome. So there is a 2 types of the sex chromosome. We know one is XX and another is XY. Now you see, XXY, if it one that is X is extra, okay, this will be twice n plus 1. Total of the chromosome will be 47. So this is known the Klinefelter syndromes. Details I have given earlier, so that is why I am not explaining here. So you can note down from the genetical disorders. Okay, Turner syndrome X0. Twice n minus 1, one chromosome is less, that is 45. Okay, Turner syndrome, one chromosome is less, that is 45. Tipple syndrome, one chromosome again extra, twice n plus 1s. Jacob syndrome, one chromosome extra, XYYY. So these are known as numerical changes in the chromosome due to the what? Mutations. So in my next slides, I switch over to the another basic things. So whether it is a gene mutations or whether it is a chromosomal mutations, okay, it is always that is due to what? Due to some mutagenic agents, okay. This chromosomal mutation or gene mutation doesn't matter. Whatever the mutation is there, the changes is what? These changes is due to the some that is a mutagenic agent. Now, what are the mutagenic agents? Different kind of mutagenic agents. So in my this slide, just I have shown mutagens. It may be of three different varieties. It may be physical mutagen, chemical mutagen, and biological mutagen. Physical mutagen, it may be radiation or heat. Chemical mutagen, it may be base analogues, it may be intercalating agents, it may be alkylating agents, deaminating agents, and the metals. Okay. Similarly, biological mutants, it may be transposons, it may be viruses, it may be bacteria. Okay. So, in the next slide, just with the help of this diagram, just I am showing you what are the mutagenic agents. Say UV ray, X-ray, so the radiation mutation, chemicals, cigarette smoking, carbon monoxide, then nicotinamines, then benzyl peroxides, okay, they are chemical mutagens. Then infectious particles, that is known as human papilloviruses. Then say your some bacteria, okay, they may also give rise to what? Sometimes of the some mutations, okay. So in my next slides, I would like to give regarding that is physical mutagens. The physical mutagens, generally basically two types physical mutagens are there. One is ionizing radiation and another is non-ionizing radiations, okay. So ionizing radiations, generally it may affect our tissue, it affect our ions, and if that is our bond, that is DNA phosphodiester bond, it will affect in the bones, ionizing radiations, okay. So bone will be break or bone will it from the dimer, in that way it will change. Similarly, non-ionizing radiations, UV light, then our other source of the non-ionizing radiation, it may give rise to a dimer formation. So it is a thymine dimer, TT. So actually T, it should combine with the A, but here is a TT combination, thymine dimer formation. So in that way what happens, that is mutations may takes place by different kinds of the physical mutagens, okay. So in my next slides, so I have given regarding the different kinds of the mutations and mutagens. So mutagens are of that is different types, it affects an example. Just I've given in tabular form. Say carcinogenic agents, carcinogens. And generally carcinogenesis and tumor formation helps in the tumor formations. They are chemicals, aflatoxins, biological retroviruses, and physical X-ray. They are carcinogenic, okay, popularly known as carcinogens. And mutagenic agents, which are the carcinogens. Now clastogens, okay, they may be chromosome breaks, or it may be a deletion or rearrangement. It will chemically be that is bleomycins, biological HIV virus, and physical is UV waves. So these are popularly known as the clastogens. It affects chromosomes, and the examples of the clastogens. Now teratogens, that is human-made some polluted materials, and ultimately which will give us the congenital malformations, okay, X-ray radiations or toxoplasms or valproates. So these are some toxic substances which are made by the human, and this may leads to a which are pollutant teratogen. It may also affects our mutations, okay. Then non-specific mutagens, non-specific damage to the genetical material. It may be chemical, innumerable types of the chemicals are there. Physical is maybe X-ray radiation, or biological toxoplasm and the viruses. So just I have given regarding what different types of the toxic or mutagenic agents also, okay. Now in my next slides, I would like to discuss regarding the another two terms. One is known as spontaneous mutation and then known the induced mutations. Okay, spontaneous mutation which occur naturally, that is UV ray, it is coming spontaneously. Sun ray, it is coming spontaneously, nothing to do. Okay, so that is known as spontaneous mutations. And induced means it is the man-made mutation, popularly known as the induced mutations. Now spontaneous mutations, in these slides, spontaneous mutation occur with the exposure to any obvious mutagenic agents. They lead to the mistakes at the time of the DNA replications. Spontaneous mutation on the molecular level can be caused by tautomerisms. A base is changed by the repositing of a hydrogen atoms, alternating the hydrogen bonding pattern of that base, resulting in the incorrect base pairing during the replication, which is probably a tautomer formations. Okay, so ultimately TT, okay, tautomer A, this is the tautomer formation may takes place. Okay, so that is known the tautomerism. So this is the what that is spontaneous mutations. It may form the tautomerism. And the depurination, loss of the purine base, or purine is ARG. ARG is what it will be lost instead of the aperiodic site, AP site. A new type of the base is formed. Base analog is formed. This is known the depurinations. Deaminations, hydrolytic changes of a normal base to a atypical base containing the keto group in place of the original amine group. For example, include cytosine is changing to uracil and adenine is hypoxanthine, which can be corrected by the DNA repair mechanism. And 5-methyl cytosines to come changes to the T, thymine, which is less likely to be detected in the mutation because the thymine is a normal DNA base. Okay. So another that is spontaneous, that is mutation is in the slipped strand mispairing. Denaturation, when DNA denatured, again is denatured. During the denaturation of the new strand from the template DM during the replication followed by the denaturation of the reference spot, there may be slipping of the some nitrogenous bases. This also leads to the what insertion or deletion, which is also one kind of the spontaneous mutation. Nothing to do. Okay. So it is not the spontaneous mutations. So in my next slides, I would like to show you regarding the induced mutations after spontaneous. So induced mutations. So what is induced mutations? Okay. So mutations can be artificially induced with the help of the mutagenic agents, which can be broadly classified into two groups. One is physical mutagens and another is the chemical mutagens. Okay. Now first already I have explained physical mutagen. What are the physical mutagens? Now physical mutagens are mainly radiations, changes in the pH value or temperature shocks. Radiation are two types, ionizing and non-ionizing radiations. The radiation have direct effect on the chromosomes. So non-ionizing radiation, how non-ionizing radiation affect the chromosome? Non-ionizing radiations are mainly our UV rays. Already I have explained earlier also. There will be some diagram also. So mainly UV rays coming from the cosmos, and magnitude is 10 to 319 nanometers. Other that is non-ionizing radiations are radio waves, microwaves, infrared light, etc. Okay, but mainly this UV ray mainly affect our chromosomes. Okay, the non-ionizing radiation may lead to the unstable and organic peroxides and dimer formation also. The UV ray causes thymine dimer formations, photo reactivation, etc. In that way, what happens? Mutations may be induced. Okay. Now, ionizing radiations. Ionizing radiations will cause ionization and will force ejection of an electron from the atom it attacks. Among ionizing radiation, more commonly are X-rays, gamma rays, alpha rays, beta rays, protons, neutrons, and other heavy particles. Now, mainly I will focus on the X-ray, gamma ray, and beta ray. Now, X-ray are produced in the X-ray machines. Okay, when energy is charged particle like cathode ray imprints on a suitable target like tungstens, there will be creation of the X-ray, and this X-ray, it is a mutagenic. It may affect our chromosomes. If the doses is more or low, it may affect our chromosomes. Okay. Gamma rays. Gamma rays are produced when an unstable atomic nucleus like cobalt-60 releases energy to gain the stability. So gamma rays also what? It is a mutagenics. So one kind of the energy radiations. Beta ray, which is equivalent to electron particles, are also produced from the element like phosphorus and neutrons are produced in the nuclear reactors. Okay, they may also lead to the what? Mutations. The radiation can can have direct effect on the chromosomes. They may directly break chromosomes or alter one of the DNA bases. It is established fact that chromosomes are extremely sensitive to the breakage during the prophase zone of the meiotic cycles. The effect of the radiation depends on its wavelength and the penetrance, which are inversely correlated. Lower the wavelength, higher is the penetrance. If the magnitudes, lower wavelength is very low magnitudes, then lower the wavelength, higher will be the penetrance. And that is why ionizing radiations having the lower wavelength and have the higher penetrance, and thus used in the acute radiation dose, which means that the dose of the radiation can be supplied quickly within a few minutes in one installment. Such acute radiations are usually given to the seed materials. Okay. Contrary to this, some radiations are used as chronic radiations by keeping the living material like whole plants or seedling in a gamma gardens. Okay, continuous radiation sometimes it requires when gamma rays are continuously emitted at a very slow rates. Okay. So in my next slides. That is a chemical, different types of chemicals. So chemical mutagens. So different types of the chemicals and analogues. Okay, analogues may also change in the nitrogenous base or the nucleotides. Thereby it leads to the changes in the genetic codons, which in turn does not synthesize the proper proteins. The chemicals, most name of the chemicals, hydroxylamines is 2H, base analogues, 5-bromouracils, alkylating agents, N-ethyl, N-nitrosourea. These agents can mutate both replicating and non-replicating DNA. Each of these classes of the chemical mutagen has certain effects, okay, that then lead to the transition, transversion and deletions. Next, agent that DNA adducts, ochratoxins, metabolites, DNA intercalating agents, for example, ethanium bromides, DNA cross-linkers, oxidative damages, nitrous acids converts amine group to A or C to diazo groups, alternating their hydrogen bonding pattern, which leads to the incorrect base pairing during the replications. So these are different kinds of the chemicals. Okay, how these chemicals ultimately in my next class I will show you how these chemicals, okay, these chemicals affect effect of the chemical mutagen on the nucleotide sequence. Now it maybe takes place by incorporation of the base analogues. Analogues means already you might be knowing. Analogues means almost is similar. Okay, 5-bromouracil. This structure is just like uracils. Okay, so almost similar. So that is known as the analogues. Okay, 5-bromouracil, 5-chlorouracil, 5-iodouracil can replace the thymine in the DNA, but 2-aminopurine is incorporated in such a small amount that it could not possible to find out which base it replaces. 2,6-diaminopurine is highly mutagenic, but its effect has not been studied in details. The mutagenic effect has been attributed, therefore, to pairing the mistakes due to their incorporation in the DNA. How these different kinds of the base analogues, it will lead to the what mutations. So first, 5-bromouracil or 5-bromodioxyuridine, okay, both are analogues. Okay, 5-bromouracil can pair with the adenine, okay, uracils AT. So T is replaced by UU. So this can combine with the adenine. So 5 bromouracil can pair with the adenine. Uracil should pair with the adenine, but instead 5 bromouracils, okay, just like the thymines, okay. Occasionally 5 bromouracil loses the hydrogen atom in the position 1 and pairs with the guanines instead of the adenine. This pairing mistake may occur at the time of the incorporations or after the incorporation of the time of the replication. Hence both kinds of the transition GC into AT and AT into GC should be inductables. So in my next slides, 2 aminopurines. So I have given the structures, schematic structure of the 2 aminopurines. Okay, how it forms the what? There is a dimer. Okay, 2 hydrogen bond or single hydrogen bonds. So just I am showing in my these slides. Okay, 2 aminopurine can pair with the thymines. Okay, by 2 hydrogen bonds. Figure 1. This is the figure 1. Okay, and the cytosines by a single bond. Figure 2. And this cytosine can pair with this aminopurine by a single bonds. Okay, bond. The pairing involving the 2 bonds is more common since in other cases the nitrogen in the AP and nitrogen in the cytosine repel each other and cause their separations. Incorporation of the AP at the places of the guanines, the guanine to give rise to the APC, that is aminopurine and cytosines. Okay, aminopurine and cytosine base pair will cause the mutation in the subsequent generation. Similarly, mistakes in the replication after the incorporation of the AP leading the formation of the APT, that is aminopurine and thymine base pair, may lead to the mutations. AP will thus induce transition in both the directions. So in my next slides, I am showing the I would like to show regarding the nitrous acids. So everybody, you know, these nitrous acids, it is one kind of the there is acid which is generated in the there is I think it is a mustard gas. Okay. Yes. Now what happens here? The nitrous acid deaminates the bases G, C, and A, and decreasing the frequency in the DNA with the equal numbers of the RNA. The mutagenic effect was analyzed in the tobacco mosaic virus, bacteria, phages 2 and T4, yeast, and organisms. Now, this nitrous acid HNO2 deaminates adenine to hypoxanthine. Deaminate means amino group is removed, deaminations. Figure 1. Okay. Adenine is by nitrous acid, it may deaminate the adenine into hypoxanthines. Okay. Similarly, cytosine to uracil. Nitrous acid may deaminate cytosine to, that is the uracils. Okay. Similarly, guanines, nitrous acid may deaminate guanine to xanthines. So what are the changes? You see NH2 group was removed, NH2 group. Okay. Here is also what happens. This is the what our cytosine, and this is the what uracil. So what happens? So you see here NH2 group is amino group is removed, which is popularly known as deamination. Here is also you see this NH2 group is from guanine coming into xanthine. This guanine NH2 group at 2 position it is changed. Okay, oxo. Okay. So in that way, what will happen if amino group is deaminated by nitrous acid? It also leads to the what causes the what our that is known as that is chemical mutagens, and that is known as hydroxylamines NH2OH on hydrazines NH2. Okay. So in the DNA, cytosine is the strongest reacting base when reacted with the hydroxylamines. Okay. Therefore, it is possible that the major mutagenic effect of the hydroxylamines is due to the alternation of the cytosines. Hydroxylamine probably causes hydroxylation of the cytosine at amino group, giving rise to the hydroxyl cytosines. Okay, which then subsequently pairs with the adenines with the figure 1. Okay. This is because the hydroxyl amino group should be more electronegative than the amino group, and hence this hydroxylate molecule should be more frequent in the tautomeric form, having a hydrogen from the in place of the nitrogen at the position 3. Okay. This tautomeric form cannot repair the guanines but can pair with the adenines. Thus, we should expect that the effect of the hydroxylamines on the DNA induces base pair transition predominantly, the figure 2. Now, this is the hydroxylamine NH2OH. Okay, so this is G. Guanine should pair this C. Okay, guanine should pair the C, but instead of the C, there is a hydroxy. There is a hydroxylamines. It created AC, hydroxycytosines. Okay, GC instead of C, it is AC. So what will happen now? Now this G, again it will be when separated during the replication. This G will give it a normal C, but this AC it will give, not give the normal G instead of it is A. Okay. Now this A ultimately when separate A will give rise to the T, and AC will give the A. Okay. Now this is one kind of what this abnormalities which may occur by means of transition and the transversions. Okay, by means of the chemical mutagens. So in my next slides, I would like to show some alkylating agents. So many mutagenic agents carry 1, 2 or more alkyl groups, okay, in a reactive form. These are called mono, bi or polyfunctional alkylating agents. Most extensively studied alkylating agents, both with respect to their chemical effect as well as the mutagenic effect, are diethyl sulfate, okay, diethyl sulfate, then dimethyl sulfate, methyl methane sulfate, ethyl sulfate, ethyl methane sulfate. They all act in the monofunctional agents even when they carry two groups like DES and DMS, since these groups alkylates separately. DNA can be changed by alkylating agents in 4 different ways. Okay. Now these alkylating agents, how DNA can be changed by alkylating agents? There are 4 ways are there. So just I like to show you. Now alkylation of the phosphorus groups of the nucleic acids, how the alkylation takes place in the phosphorus group, the nucleic acids. Okay. Next is there is a hydrolysis of the triester between the sugar and the phosphates. Okay. Then alkylation of the bases. Okay. Then depurinations. So these are the 4 ways by means of which what happens. That means alkylating agents. It may affect 4 ways. One is alkylation of the phosphate group of the nucleic acid. Just I have given all the diagrams. Just to follow the diagram with all the things. The hydrolysis of the triester between the sugar and the phosphate is another way. Next, third is the alkylation of the bases. Okay, and fourth one is on the depurinations. It may lead to the what? That is known as mutations, chemical mutations. Now some dyes, that is chemicals or dyes also what will happen. Sometimes what it will lead to mutations. Okay. Now already you might have heard the term proflavin, one that is a dye, and there is acridine orange. Okay, proflavin and acridine orange are 2 important dyes. A direct attachment of these dyes to nucleic acid causes the mutations. Okay. Other biological effects include elimination of the non-chromosomal elements like F factor in the bacteria by acriflavins, is another dye. Among the acridine dyes, acriflavin is a mutagenic for bacteria and higher plants like allium, and proflavin has been shown to be mutagenic for phages, bacteriophages, viruses. Acridine orange and acridines stack along the nucleic acids. They apparently attach to the phosphate backbones. It is usually suggested that Accidents induce only the deletions and insertion of the single base pair in the DNA. Deletion and addition of base pairs cause shift in the frame shift, in which the nucleotide sequences are read by protein synthesizing machinery of the cell using the genetic code dictionary. Such mutations are called frame shift mutation. Now here in this diagram, just I have given how this frame shift mutation takes place. Just you see, this is the normal mRNA, AUG, GGG, GCC, AA, AGU, UAG. This is the stop codon, and this is the first codon, the methionines. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say 5. That is I've taken 5. That is amino acid that there. Okay. Now U is inserted. Now in case of the AGU, U is inserted. Then what happens? The codon will be UAG, and next UAA, the codon will be what? It will be disrupted. Frame will be disrupted. Okay. Then imagine this is the polypeptide. The methionine, glycine, alanine, lysine. Next it will come to the stop codon. Okay. Okay. Due to the what? Insertion on the U. Similarly, if deleted, say G is deleted, GCC, G is deleted. If these G is deleted, then our frame will be a CCA, then AAU. Okay. It will be what? Out of frame. Okay. So in this our that is codon frames, if it is changed, okay, non-codon also represent the what? Different kinds of the amino acid, and ultimately it will what? Leads to a mutation. And these are the mutations popularly known as the frame shift mutations. In my next slides, so already it is completed. So in my next slide, just I would like to give that whether this mutation is good or it is bad, okay, or it is ugly. Now in this diagram, it has been shown that mutation versus variations. Say it is a AT, a chromosome. This is one chromosome, and this that chromosome, it is what? It is having the A and T. A is a one allele. Okay. Okay. Now due to the mutation, what will happen? This AD, there is AD is changed to GT. Okay. And next this G, if it is when during the application, G will give rise to the C. Okay. Now this G is a new allele. Okay. So this type of the what? Base change, allele change, new allele formations, it will lead to what? Mutations. Okay. Now there are some mutations which are very good for us. Okay. Mutations sometimes is very good for us. Some mutations are very bad us. It is harmful. It is not useful to us. It's not the bad mutation. And some are known as ugly mutations. Okay. Ugly mutation. Now you see one here is one diagram is given there. Variation and variations in the skin color. Now this is all are human hands. So some humans are what? That means the skin color is very dark, and in some cases very white. Now this variation is due to what? Okay, this variation is due to the what? Changes in the bases. Okay, from the new alleles. Okay. So next slides, just I like to show again the same thing. The mutation, sometimes it is good, sometimes it is bad, sometimes it is ugly. Say mutation, it gives rise to the albinisms. Okay. Now generally earlier I mentioned that coat color, skin coat color, it is known the melanin pigment. If melanin pigment formation is not there, then that phenomenon, the albinism. As a result, a child is suffering from the phenomena which is known as albinisms, the changes in the mutations. Okay. So normal is what changes to albinism. So mutation leads to the what? Abnormal albinisms. Okay. So here just it is a diagram, schematic diagram regarding what this showing that the mutation is good, sometimes it is bad, sometimes it is ugly. Okay. So I am at the end of your, that means this chapter is a very vast chapter. 4 topics already. Very beginning I mentioned that 4 topics are allotted to the along with the mutations. Okay, different kind of questions it may arise. So all the four I have given in the one window. Okay, so you go through it very nicely. Okay, and last one is my known as the application of the mutations. So mutation have variety of the applications. Okay, which have both harmful and beneficial effects. The harmful effects, it may cause drastic changes in the genome, which may lead to the genetic and congenital diseases of human. For example, atom bomb explosion, the Second World War in Japan leads to the different kinds of diseases in the Japanese peoples. Okay, congenital malformations and congenital diseases, etc. Now, harmful mutation may cause the genetic disorder or the cancer also. A genetic disorder is a disease caused by the mutation in one or few genes. A mutation in the single gene causes the body to produce thick, sticky mucus that clogs the lungs and blocks the digestive organs. So this is the harmful effect of the mutation. Similarly, mutation always it is not harmful. Sometimes it is beneficial also. So some mutation it will help in the improvement of the crops varieties. Okay, mutations are changes in the DNA of the organisms. Mutation can be beneficial, benign, or malignant, depending on whether the genetic code they are located. Biochemical mutation permit to find the biosynthesis and biodegradable pathways into the individual reaction steps. Induced mutations are being used to analysis in the effect of the various types of the known alternation in the DNA. Such analyses are often called reverse genetics as opposed to the classical genetics. It helps in the variation among the animals and the raw materials of the evolution. So mutations are the what it leads to the variation among the human being, and it's are the raw materials for the human evolution also. Another point, I would like to note down. Laser ray, you might be knowing laser ray. So laser, by means of laser ray, we can prepare the gun, and with the help of the laser ray, we can do some microsurgery. Even our cataract, it can be also removed by laser treatments. Okay, so in this way, this is a kind of mutation when the treatment of the laser ray. So same laser, it may perform the different activities according to its doses and intensity. So human being have to use for the benefit, not for the welfare of the human being, not for the cost of the human being. So with that, I would like to conclude the chapter mutations. Okay, so you try to follow it, and if there is any problems, then you tell me. Okay.